In this video, I'd like to show you how you can use RealProspect to really ramp up your direct mail marketing campaigns and automate the entire process. The RealProspect campaign management feature starts with categories. Essentially, the category, like here I have foreclosures, that's my foreclosures category. It contains all the active prospects, the letter templates, and the campaigns for that particular investment strategy or targeted list of prospects. So here in my foreclosures category, I can create a direct mail campaign that will apply to any prospect records that I add to that category. So essentially, if I add a new prospect record to the foreclosures category, any mailing campaigns that are also in that category will be automatically scheduled for all those new prospects. So here what I'll do is I'll show you how to create a simple mailing campaign, and it just takes a few steps. Essentially, I start with a new mailing campaign, and I'll give it a descriptive name so that I understand later on down the road what this mailing campaign is all about. So I'll call this my foreclosure mailing campaign. And I'll save that. So here I'm starting with a blank mailing campaign. And what I'll do is add the individual actions, and these actions will be the individual mailings that I'll do for these prospects. In other words, the first letter that goes out, and then another action would be the second letter that goes out several days later. And I do that by giving each action a description, and I'll call this my initial contact letter. And I'll just remind myself that this one gets sent immediately. And I have a few letters that I've already created, and these are essentially just like Word documents that I've created my letter content, and I saved them into the database, and now they're available here for me to select from in the list. So there I'll select my initial contact letter, and I'll make this one go out in 0 days because I want this one to be sent out immediately once I add a new prospect record to the foreclosures category. I'll save that, and now that one's done. So we can go over here and look at my campaign prospects. This is a list of all the prospects that are in the foreclosures category and are available to be scheduled to the new campaign action. And as you can see here, the next action scheduled is going to be that initial contact letter that I just created. And you can see that no action has been completed in the past for these new prospects. So I'll go back over to the campaign details, and I'll add several other campaign actions. And for example, this will be my second contact, and this will go 5 days later, and I'll select my second letter, and I want this 5 days. My day interval tells the system to wait 5 days from the previous campaign action that was printed before this one is available. And there you see there's the second one, and I'll add 2 more for good measure. This will be my third contact, 5 days later. And I'll grab my third letter, 5 days, save. And in some cases we print postcards, so I'll do one of those here. And what we'll do is we'll, fourth contact, 5 days later. What we'll do is we'll select labels as the method. And when this campaign action is ready to be processed, it will print out labels instead of the letters, and then we can affix those labels to the postcards. These also will go out in 5 days from the previous action. So here what we have is the first action is going to be sent immediately, and it's going to print the foreclosure letter, which is my initial contact letter. 5 days after that, the second letter will be printed, and this is my foreclosures letter. 5 days after that, my third contact letter will be printed, and here I have my foreclosures letter. And then 5 days after that, I'm going to print labels for a postcard. And you can continue this process to have an unlimited number of mailing campaign steps. So here what I'm going to do is show you what happens now is on the activity screen, a mailing campaign is now ready to be processed. And this is because I created that initial mailing campaign step, and it automatically was applied to all of the prospects that were in the foreclosures category. Now here what we would do is typically print the selected action, and what that would do is go out and preview the letters, and then you could send them to your printer, and it will actually print the letters for each one of those prospects, and then you could take them and fold them and stuff them and do what you got to do to get them processed. Once you've printed this particular campaign action, you just advance it, And what this does is it tells RealProspect to go ahead and reschedule all of those prospects that were in that campaign action to the next step, which would be the second letter. So if we go over to the campaign details screen, you can now see that the next action specified is going to be the second contact letter. And the last one completed was the initial contact. And over here you can see that this was the last completion date. And now what will happen is in 5 days from now, the activity screen will list the second contact action as ready to be processed. So going forward, what you do is you add new prospect records to the foreclosures category, and it will automatically schedule the initial campaign and track that prospect individually through the entire process and independently from the other campaign actions so they don't get mixed. So to illustrate that, I'll add a new prospect record, and I'll just create a sample prospect. 123 Main Street. I'm just going to select anything here for now, and I'll save that, and we'll close this here. So now if I look at my foreclosure mailing campaign, I just created that new contact, and here it is at 123 Main Street. And if you notice, the initial letter has already been scheduled for them, and now on my activity screen, there's a campaign ready to be processed, and it's for one total prospect because I only added one prospect record. So here, if I process this one where I'd go and print it and then advance it, now we can see that my 123 Main Street record is now scheduled for the second contact, and the initial contact letter was printed. So the key to this is once you have your mailing campaign set up and you have all your letter templates defined, really going forward, all you do is import new records and print campaign actions as they become due. So you don't have to think about who you have to send letters to and what letter in the mailing campaign process needs to happen. And you don't have to worry about so much when you get new lists frequently that you're going to mix them up and accidentally send somebody the wrong one. You can actually just import new lists daily, weekly, monthly, and just go ahead and go over to your activities list and print your campaign actions as they become due. This really simplifies the process, and it makes it a really easy system to maintain for maximum scalability and effectiveness.